Wait, I know you're about to scroll away, but trust me, watch this video until the end. Because once you learn how to control your reaction, people lose the power to control your peace. Now imagine someone insulting you, belittling your work, or deliberately provoking you in front of everyone. Your blood starts boiling, your thoughts begin racing, and every part of you wants to strike back. But what if you could break that cycle? What if their words, their attitude, and their disrespect could no longer disturb your inner peace? That's exactly what the Stoics learned. And in this video, you'll discover how to stay calm, control your anger, and become almost impossible to provoke. Attitude 1. Reframe insults. The first key to becoming difficult to anger is understanding that an insult only has as much power as you give it. Nothing another person says automatically controls your emotions. The emotional impact comes from the story you create around their words. Seneca said that we often suffer more in our imagination than in reality. And this is exactly how anger works. A word has no weight by itself. The weight comes from your interpretation. When someone insults you, your first instinct may be to think, "How dare they speak to me like that?" But stop for a moment. Ask yourself, does this really describe me? Or does it reveal more about the person who said it? You may begin to realize that many provocations are simply reflections of another person's frustration, not definitions of your identity. People who are insecure may attack. People who are frustrated may look for someone to release their tension onto. And people who feel powerless may sometimes try to make others feel smaller. When you train yourself to see an insult as noise instead of truth, it begins to lose its power. The next time someone tries to diminish you, pause for just 1 second. Don't rush to defend yourself. Ask, is this really about me? That single question can interrupt the automatic reaction. And when you interrupt the impulse, you regain control. This is where anger begins to lose its grip, because you realize you don't have to carry every word someone throws at you. Attitude 2. Control what is in your hands. Epictetus repeatedly taught that some things depend on us, while other things do not. And much of our anger comes from trying to control what was never ours to control. Other people's words, their opinions, their attitudes, their judgments, their decisions. None of these completely belong to you, but your response does. Your calm does. Your choices do. The moment you accept that you're not responsible for what comes out of another person's mouth, but you are responsible for what comes out of yours, something changes. You stop wasting energy trying to make everyone behave the way you want. Instead, you redirect that energy toward yourself. When someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself the classic Stoic question, is this under my control? If the answer is no, let it go. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to correct every person. You don't have to respond to every opinion. Sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is refuse to participate. By doing this, you protect the one thing that should always remain yours, your peace, because someone can challenge your patience, but they cannot control your response unless you hand that control to them. Your peace is valuable. Don't give that power away cheaply. Attitude 3. Visualize difficulties before they happen. This may be one of the most underestimated practices in Stoicism. The Stoics practiced a form of mental preparation known as premeditatio malorum, the anticipation of possible difficulties. Instead of being completely surprised by life's problems, they prepared their minds for them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he would encounter selfish, aggressive, ungrateful, and difficult people. He wasn't doing this because he expected life to be terrible. He was preparing himself to remain calm when reality wasn't perfect. Because when you expect everyone to behave perfectly, Almost everything irritates you. But when you understand that difficult behavior is part of life, you become harder to shake. Imagine that tomorrow you will experience criticism, rudeness, delays, misunderstandings, small injustices, and difficult conversations. Now imagine deciding beforehand, none of these things will control my response. When they actually happen, you won't be completely surprised. You'll recognize them as part of life. And something interesting happens. The emotional impact becomes smaller. A prepared mind suffers less from surprise. You become like a mountain. The wind hits. The rain falls. The storm becomes loud. But the mountain remains where it is. Attitude 4. Respond with calculated calm. Few things disarm provocation faster than genuine calm. Anger needs fuel to continue growing. When someone tries to provoke you, and you respond with composure, the situation begins losing its power. Imagine a fire. Remove the oxygen, and eventually the fire disappears. Emotional conflict can work in a similar way. When someone expects you to explode, but you remain calm, you change the entire dynamic. You don't need to become passive. You don't need to pretend that disrespect is acceptable. You simply choose your response carefully. Maintain a composed posture. Speak slowly. Use fewer words. And sometimes, say nothing at all. You are not surrendering. You're being intentional. You're showing that your emotional state doesn't depend on another person's behavior. True strength doesn't always appear when you fight back. Sometimes, it appears when you remain completely unshaken. And with practice, you discover that this is one of the purest forms of emotional freedom. Attitude 5. Strengthen your mind daily. None of these principles become powerful without practice. Your mind, just like your body, needs regular training. You cannot expect mental strength to suddenly appear during your hardest moment. You build it during ordinary days. Take a few minutes each day to examine your emotions. Write down what triggered you. Ask yourself why it affected you. Notice the patterns. Maybe certain words trigger your ego. Maybe criticism makes you defensive. Maybe rejection makes you question yourself. Once you understand your patterns, you gain the ability to change them. Journaling, quiet reflection, meditation, and simple moments of self-awareness can gradually build an internal shield. Every time you notice an emotion without immediately obeying it, you strengthen your self-control, and eventually, something transformative happens. You begin recognizing anger before it fully appears. You notice the impulse, and you interrupt it. You feel the emotion, but you don't automatically become the emotion. Over time, you discover something even more powerful. Your reactions don't have to depend on everyone around you. They can depend on you. And when you combine all 5 principles, reframing insults, focusing on what you control, preparing for difficulties, responding with calm, and training your mind every day, you develop what the Stoics considered a powerful form of inner stability. Becoming difficult to provoke doesn't mean becoming cold. It doesn't mean becoming emotionless. And it doesn't mean allowing people to treat you badly. It means becoming the master of your own response. It means living without giving control of your peace to someone who hasn't earned that privilege. Now comes your challenge. For the next 7 days, whenever someone tries to irritate you, don't react immediately. Pause. Breathe. Observe what you're feeling. Then choose your response. Watch how the other person reacts. But more importantly, watch how you begin to change. You'll start noticing that situations which once controlled your mood no longer have the same power. And that is where real progress begins. Not when everyone becomes nicer, but when you become harder to disturb. If this video gave you a new perspective on anger, emotional control, or inner strength, leave a like and subscribe to Axiom Stoic. Every video is another opportunity to strengthen your mind, protect your peace, and develop greater emotional maturity. And before you leave, write this declaration in the comments. I control my response. I protect my peace. Because the goal isn't to control everyone around you. The goal is to finally master yourself. And once you do that, very few people will have the power to take your peace away. I'll see you in the next video.